Nobody inside the league expected things to escalate this quickly, this messily, or this publicly. What began as a simple rise had transformed into a full-blown fracture. Once the cracks appeared, everyone scrambled to protect themselves, except one person, Caitlin Clark. This wasn't meant to be her problem, yet somehow, everything kept circling back to her. At first, it was subtle. NBC made its move quietly. Owners didn't announce anything dramatic. No press conference, no warning. Just a shift in priorities that insiders immediately felt. Phone calls changed, invitations shifted, and suddenly, who mattered was different. The veterans noticed first. For years, the WNBA had sent a clear message. Loyalty mattered, seniority mattered, and if you paid your dues, the league stood by you. But that promise fractured the moment Caitlin Clark became the center of attention. Attention brings money, money brings power, and power exposes truth. Owners saw the numbers first. Viewership spikes, engagement surges, sponsors asking new questions. Not about teams, not about parity, but about one name, Caitlin Clark. That's when the real shift occurred. Not officially, not publicly, but unmistakably. NBC leaned in, owners followed, and the league's old hierarchy suddenly felt optional. Veterans experienced it in real time. Meetings that once included them now excluded them. Messaging that once centered the league now centered the moment.
We have to get right off into things. So we go here, boom, to NBC Sports, okay? And now NBC Sports, what they did is they flexed on them, okay? They flexed on them. Here it says, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. The WNBA is coming to NBC and Peacock. So they are going on with their promo. This was put out today.
To my ladies, honeys.
And this is the promo they have that they were promoting today. If you know, you know.
And the moment had a face. Some accepted it, others didn't. That's when the tension spilled over. Kennedy Carter didn't just get banned. She became a symbol of how quickly the league was willing to cut loose anyone who threatened a new direction. The ban itself wasn't the shock. The real shock was the reaction. Instead of unity, there was blame. Instead of accountability, there was deflection. And the name that kept surfacing wasn't the league. It was Caitlin Clark. That's when things turned ugly, because blaming Caitlin Clark made sense to those who felt abandoned. It was easy to point at the face of change and at the system that created it. Kennedy Carter voiced what others thought but wouldn't say out loud, that Caitlin Clark was being protected, that the league had chosen a side, and that veterans had suddenly become expendable. The league didn't respond loudly. They didn't need to. The silence spoke.
God, WNBA, listen. I hope y'all WNBA players is paying attention. They will replace y'all asses. They have Caitlin Clark. They have Paige Beckers under contract. They have Angel Reese. They have replacement players they can go get. They have a slew of rookies they are about to draft. Nneka Ogwumike, if you don't play, I think the fans will be just okay. Alicia Clark, if you don't sign on to the deal to play, I think the fans will be just fine watching Sonia Citron instead of Alicia Clark. Brianna Stewart, if you don't play, I think the fans would be okay watching Paige Beckers.
As the controversy grew, NBC didn't pull back. They doubled down. More visibility, more coverage, more positioning made it clear where the future was headed. Owners watched closely. They saw outrage. They saw division. But most importantly, they saw eyes, millions of them, locked on Caitlin Clark whenever she was involved. That's when loyalty stopped being the priority. Revenue took over. This wasn't about fairness anymore. It was about survival. The WNBA wasn't collapsing, but it was being reshaped in real time. And reshaping always brings casualties. Veterans who once felt untouchable suddenly felt replaceable. Not because they lacked talent, but because the market had spoken, and the market wanted Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese felt the pressure too. Not in the same way, but just as intensely. When the league splits, everyone chooses a side whether they want to or not. Angel spoke out, but carefully. The frustration was real, But so was hesitation. She knew the ground was unstable. One wrong move, and a league that once promoted balance would move on without blinking. That fear wasn't paranoia. It was precedent. Kennedy Carter had just proven how quickly the league could cut loose a problem. Now, every outspoken veteran wondered the same thing. Are we next? That question haunted locker rooms because the league hadn't collapsed. It had fractured. Owners didn't announce abandonment. They practiced it. Veterans weren't publicly shunned. They were quietly sidelined. Meanwhile, the center of gravity kept shifting toward Caitlin Clark, not because she demanded it, but because she didn't. That made it even harder for everyone else. Caitlin didn't speak on the ban, didn't respond to accusations, didn't engage in the blame game. She stayed calm, and calm in moments like this is devastating, because it makes everyone else look unstable. The more others talked, the quieter she became. The more blame was thrown, the less she reacted. That silence wasn't weakness. It was control. NBC noticed it. Owners noticed it. Fans definitely noticed it. Because
restaurant, very nice restaurant. And typically they have like at the bar, they have like ESPN or Fox, and they have this going on, that going on. They had Caitlin on there. And you should see people that was all engaged. Older women, older gentlemen, right? Different races. And I'm sitting back, it's like, because, I do this for a living, so I'm like, wow, this girl has really changed the game. And she doesn't have any championships. She don't have any all WNBAs, right? She don't have none of that. Player of the year, she don't none of that. She's just really, really nice. She went from college to being nice, now I'm in the pros, and now I'm uplifting their game. And we all should be thankful. I go to the barbershop, that's the biggest talk show ever, is the barbershop, right? Especially in the hood. They talk about little LeBron and the Lakers. They talk about little Jason Tatum and the Celtics. You know what else they talking about? Little Kyrie Irving and Luka. But the last and maybe the biggest conversation is Caitlin Clark.
And not only that, like, these teams, let's just say NFL, these teams in the NFL that got primetime games is because of the primetime quarterback. Does that mean Travis Kelce ain't good?
it pulled the audience closer, but only to one side, Caitlin Clark's side. Games she wasn't part of felt quieter. Moments without her felt less urgent. That difference cut deep because it confirmed the league's worst fear. The audience wasn't loyal to the system. They were loyal to her. Owners saw the writing on the wall. You don't fight momentum. You harness it. So they did, quietly and decisively. Veterans felt abandoned, not because the league said so, but because actions replaced words. Marketing shifted, spotlights narrowed, and the future was no longer evenly distributed. It had a center. Kennedy Carter's ban became the line in the sand, a warning. This is a direction now. Fall in line or fall out. And when blame was aimed at Caitlin Clark, the backlash was brutal, but not from the league, from the fans. Fans didn't see Caitlin as a cause. They saw her as a result. The result of years of missed opportunities. The result of a league finally with a star who crossed boundaries. The result of attention the league couldn't manufacture. Blaming her felt desperate. Angel understood that better than most. That's why her response was measured, cautious, because she knew the league had already chosen survival over sentiment, and survival had a face. Caitlin Clark. NBC didn't retreat. They kept pushing her forward. Every appearance reinforced the same message. This is who people came for. That message echoed louder than any official statement. The WNBA didn't abandon its veterans loudly. It abandoned them silently. And silence hurts more because it gives no closure, only realization. The league had moved on. The final insult wasn't the ban or the blame or even the division. It was the calm. Caitlin Clark stood at the center of chaos, untouched, while others argued. She worked. While others blamed, she performed. While others panicked, she stayed patient. That patience became her shield, untouchable even to the league. Owners didn't need to say a word. The numbers spoke. NBC didn't need to explain. The audience decided. Veterans didn't need confirmation. They felt it. This wasn't about one ban or one argument. It was about a league realizing too late that stars change everything. And when they do...
Okay, hands. Okay, hands. Okay, hands.
That shows you that competitive spirit and nature. But, juggling a lot of things right now. There's the CBA negotiations going on. She's got the Nike stuff coming out, any other off-court ventures. And then, of course, clearly preparing for the Indiana Fever season. And certainly it all systems seem go for Caitlin Clark, and from everything she's putting out there publicly, her expectation is that she's going to be on the floor for the Fever on schedule. And obviously, everyone hopes that is the case. In the meantime, these little bits of footage will have to hold everybody up.
Where the old rules no longer applied, where the future stopped pretending to be fair, and where Caitlin Clark ceased to be just another player, she became the axis. Everything rotated around her, not because she demanded it, but because the league needed it. And once that happens, there's no turning back. The veterans weren't betrayed. They were outpaced. The league wasn't evil. It was desperate. Caitlin Clark didn't destroy anything. She revealed it. She revealed how fragile loyalty becomes when money enters a room, how quickly principles bend when viewership soars, and how fast a league will choose survival over history. Through it all, she remained silent. That silence wasn't absence, it was dominance. Because in chaos, the calmest person wins. And while the league argued with itself, Caitlin Clark moved forward alone, unbothered, unstoppable.